Hello guys, welcome back. As most of the companies moving towards containerization, it's crucial now to learn and work on containers. Today in this video, I'll show you how we can create database container and work on it. So let's start. To work on the MySQL container, we need the MySQL server image to be there. So just log into your hub.docker.com, okay, Docker Hub or Docker registry. Here, if you just search for MySQL server. So if you search for MySQL server, you'll get this MySQL/MySQL server, and this is created by MySQL itself. You can see here it was updated 5 months ago, and 100 million plus images has been downloaded. So let's go to this, and what you need to first pull this image to your Docker server, to a Docker machine, right? So let's copy this and go to your log into a Docker server, and you can just use Docker pull command to pull the image. So what it will do, okay, already it is copied, right? So let's remove this extra Docker pull here. Now what it will do, it will just download the latest MySQL server. Okay, hit enter. So it says using the default tag latest. So it is downloading from the registry. Now just wait for a few seconds. Once it is downloaded, we'll create container out of that. Okay, now we can see this has been downloaded. Now if I just do Docker images, so we can see here this MySQL latest tab have been downloaded. Now let's create container out of that. So what we have to do, we have to just use Docker run command, okay, -t, just give a name to the container. Suppose I'll give us MySQL database DB, and then what you need to provide the image details, right? You have to provide the image. Now let's provide this particular image, MySQL/MySQL server. Okay, now let's hit enter. So you can see here it has created the container now. So if I do Docker container ls, it can give us the container information. See, we have this MySQL DB container up 7 seconds ago, and it's running, right? So you can see here with the logs, it says the health, it is starting. It is starting. Just wait for a few seconds. Let's the completely the health says as available or started. Okay. Now if I just do again, so the health is says as healthy. Okay, that means the container, the SQL container is ready to be used. Database container is ready to be used. Now let's go ahead. How we'll access this container and we can use it, right? So what we need first the root password of the container. To get the root password of the container, you can just use the command called docker logs and give the container name here or container ID. So you can see here inside this log, if you search here, you can find it generated the root password, because we need the root password in order to connect, in order to access the database. Okay, so this is the root password. Just copy this one, and what we need now, we have to now let's connect to the container. Okay, database container. So to connect that, we can use docker exec -it. Just use MySQL DB here and give a command bash. So I connected to the database container. If I use MySQL -u root -p, so here we need the password to connect to the database, right? Let's hit enter. So the password, whatever I had copied, right? Just paste it here. See, now we can see here, we can able to connect to the database here. So if I just do show databases, right? So what it says, you must reset your password using alter user statement. See, remember the first time whatever the password generated automatically, it asking us to alter the password. So to alter the password, you can just use alter user, okay, and the password name, suppose we'll just use root, right? The user is root at the rate localhost identify identified identified by the password. Suppose I'll give the password my name Ranjit. Okay, so what it says, alter user root localhost identified by Ranjit. Hit enter. So what it says, you have an error in SQL syntax. So let's see, identified by. So here's the problem. Instead of identified, I just wrote it indentified, right? So let's correct this command. So it will be copy paste here. Identified by the password. Suppose I gave as Ranjit. Okay, now it's done, right? So it says password has been defined. Now let's come out from this. Okay, now let's log in again. Here I'll give the new password as Ranjit, whatever I had gave, right? Sorry, I put wrong password here. Put Ranjit here. See, now I'm able to connect to the database. So if I do show database here, so databases, you can get it here. So here what we did here, we just used to directly we used to create the container and get the password and then change the root password in order to connect the database. So another way I'll show you, without getting the root password or changing it, you can directly provide the root password during the container creations. Let's see how we can do it here. So let's exit out from everything here, and we have this docker ps if I do. So let's kill out this container. Okay, let's remove this container, docker rm -f. So forcefully I have to do because the container is running mysql db. Then, so if you see the command what we had executed, right, this particular command, what we had done, let me just clear this screen. Okay. So if you see here, what the command what we had executed, here we had given simply the name and nothing was given, right? Now let's provide the root password, the environment variable, the root password here. I'll just use -e, give as mysql underscore root underscore password, right, equal to, suppose I'll give it here as Ranjit. So what I gave the MySQL root password Ranjit, right? Now hit enter. So what it will do, when it creates the container, it will assign the root password. It will change the root password to Ranjit. Now, if I just log into, I don't need the log command to get the password, right? You change the password here itself in the runtime, right? Now, if I just do docker exec -it and the container name, suppose I'll give mysql db, the container whatever we are given, just command the pass command, provide the command. Now, here I connect it, just use mysql -u root, right? Password Ranjit. See, now I'm able to connect directly to the database with Ranjit password, right? Now, if I just do show databases, right? If I just hit enter, see, I'm able to do. It's not asking to change the password. Now, what we can do, we created the database, we saw the database. Now, let's create a database. So, what we can do, we can just use create database, give a database name. Suppose I'll give MyDB. So it created the database is MyDB. Now what we can do, we can simply use MyDB, change the database, use MyDB. Okay. Now if we see so tables, right? So tables, we don't have any table. Now let's create a table. So what you can do, I can just use create table. So my user. Now provide the schema, right? The schema informations, everything you have to provide it here. Suppose I'll just create it here, UID. Suppose I need this integer and first name of the user. Suppose I'll give it varchar 20. Okay, I'll give varchar 20 here. Now let's give the last name, name, as I'll give varchar again 20. Okay. Now let's give the mobile number, mobile, and I'll just want to give the mobile integer with 11, right? Now just give it here, hit enter. What is this? It just created table, right? So if I just do so tables here, it gives us my user, the table name is created. Now let's enter some data, insert some data into the my user table. So I can just use insert into table name. So table name is inserted to my user. Okay, so just to give the values, what are the values? So the values, whatever you are putting, it should be based on the schema, the structure, whatever you have created, right? Structure, what first we had given the UID. Suppose I'll give the UID is 1, and the first name, suppose I'll give my name as Ranjit, and it should be whatever the character things you are providing, right? It should be single quote, right? Under single quote, comma. Now, okay, last name sign, and just give a mobile number. It's 025. I just provided my mobile number here. Now hit enter. So what it says out of range. Okay, I think the value 11 is taking up the out of range. So let's reduce a little bit here. Some character, some integer I provided it here. Okay, now you can see just inserted the record as 1. So if I just do select star from, okay, the table name, my user. So it says as is the record is inserted. Now we can see here how we can create the container and just log in the backend and work on that, right? The same thing, how we can create another UI container, suppose PHPMyAdmin, and then we can access the container, how we can link it, right? How we can link it. Let's exit out from there, exit. So we have the container, database container is now working. Now let's create the UI container, right, to access the database. So we can link both the container in order to access the database. So what I can do here, I can use the PHPMyAdmin. Okay, so for use the PHPMyAdmin, suppose if I just search for PHPMyAdmin, the image. Okay, so we can see here this official Docker official image PHPMyAdmin. Use this command to get the image. You can directly use the run command. Notice it will download and create the container, but I'm just using this command to pull it first. Okay, the latest tag will be pulled out. Just wait for a few seconds. Let it pull out completely. Okay, the image has now been pulled out. Let's do Docker images. You can see here we have two images, PHPMyAdmin and the previous image we had downloaded, right? So PHPMyAdmin there. Now let's clear this screen and create the new container. So we can use Docker run. Okay, so -t. Just give a name as PHPMyAdmin. PHPMyAdmin. You can give any name as for your choice. Okay, so what I can do here, as we are going to use the root password for the database as Ranjit, right, I had used, so I can use the same thing here also. Mysql underscore root underscore password, okay, underscore password equal to Ranjit. Now what we need the port to be published. So the default port of the PHPMyAdmin is 80. Okay, so what I can do, I can publish a different port 8080:80. So now what I can do here, I'm just forwarding this container port 80, that's the PHPMyAdmin default port, to 8080, the host port. Through this port I can access the PHPMyAdmin container. Okay, now what I can do, I can just provide the image name. So the image name was PHPMyAdmin. Okay, the image name was PHP PHPMyAdmin. So that's all, guys. So now just hit enter here. Okay. So what happened here? So our container is now created. Our container is now created. Now if I do docker ps-a here, so see the PHPMyAdmin container is running. Now if I just, how will access these UI things? Let's go to the IP address, get the Docker Hub IP address. Okay. Now let's go to the browser, put and provide 8080. Okay. Hit enter. See, now we can able to access the UI container to the browser. Okay. Now let's provide the user as a root and password. It is Ranjit here. Hit enter. Okay. So what it says, not able to connect. Okay. So PHP network not able to connect. So why it is? It's because we have not linked the database container to the UI container. Okay. So now let's go ahead and link that one. Okay. Now what we can do, let's first remove this container, create another container, and during the runtime we have to link it, right? So let's remove this container, docker rm-f php my admin, the container name. Okay, deleted. Let's execute the same command, but this time we have to link it. We have to link it. So what is the link? Here I can just provide, suppose hyphen link, and what you have to link? You have to link the container, the container server. The container name we have given as MySQL DB. So this is the container. So we have to write the container name or the database server name, right? MySQL DB colon DB. Okay. Now hit enter. We created the new container here. If I just refresh the page, just refresh, we have the new container. Now let's give root and provide user ID, password here, login. Okay. So again, it is failed, but this time it says 172.17 is not allowed to connect this MySQL server. Okay, so this particular IP is not allowed to connect to this MySQL server. So this IP is nothing but the PHPMyAdmin container IP. Okay, so how will get it? So if I just do docker inspect, okay, inspect PHPMyAdmin. See, this is the IP address of this Docker container. This is the IP address, and this container, the IP address doesn't have access to connect to the MySQL container. So how we'll do that? Now let's connect to the MySQL database and create the user with this address. Okay, so how we'll do that? Just use let's connect to the docker exec-it, give MySQL DB here and bus. Now use MySQL -p, -u root -p here. Provide the password. Then now what we need, we have to create, we have to add this user ID root with the IP address in our MySQL.user. So how we can do that? We can simply use, if we just check, select user and select host comma user from MySQL.user table. Okay, see what happened here, that particular IP address, right, whatever the error, this particular IP address of the container is not here available. It's not available. Let's just user is root and it is given the host is localhost. I want to make this as host in order to connect it, right? So what I can do, you can just create new user, create user. Okay, so user will be root @ and provide the IP address. Provide that particular IP address of the PHPMyAdmin container and the error, whatever error we were getting it, right? This IP address. Now, if I just give this root @ provide the IP address here, and it should be written identified by identified by give the password. Okay, so password will give us Ranjit here. So this user is created. Now if I just to select host again, see we have this root user with the host we have added. Now if I just go and refresh this page, use same root, right, and password as Ranjit here, right, hit enter. See, now I can able to connect to the PHPMyAdmin. So this is how you can link different containers, right? So we had the PHP MyAdmin container and we had the MySQL database container, server container, right? What we did, we just connected or linked using this one, and we can see here how we can access the PHPMyAdmin UI. Okay. Now, as you guys know, I might know already before, right? Let me come out from here. So the nature of a container is if we terminate the container, all the data will be lost, right? So to persist the data, we can create a volume and can add it. So the data, the container, whatever things we have created in the database, everything will be saved in the volume. Okay. So to use that, what you can do, the same command, whatever you are just using, right? You can use docker run, okay, docker run -t and just give a name, suppose MySQL db here, and here you have to just give the volume and just path, suppose I'll give home Ubuntu, okay, and db vol one folder name colon, okay. Here you have to provide the database MySQL path, okay, suppose var leaf MySQL, okay. So we need this particular path of MySQL because MySQL creates everything under this path, okay. And this path I'm going to create a volume on my local host, like on my Docker server, so that whenever the container gets terminated, I will have still the data on the table, whatever is created. The next we can spin up the container with the same volume, okay, same path, so that will have the data. Or else you can create a volume, docker volume, using docker volume create and volume name, and then you can directly use the volume, and that volume will have a secret path, the path, and there all the data will be stored. So you can use my volume and then provide the image name so that it will create space, and you can use suppose MySQL slash MySQL server, right, MySQL server. Now what will happen? And you can just provide the MySQL root user also, right? To change the root user password. So you can just give here type in MySQL underscore root underscore password. Okay, equal to Ranjit. So you can give the password here and add the volumes. And if you just create it, it will just create the container and attach the volume to it. So every time if you terminate the container, you'll have the data persisted, and if you are going to create a new container, all the same data can be used. Hope you understand clearly how the database container works and how you can attach the UI to the database container. See, again, these things, whatever we have seen here by creating individual container, the same things you can create using the Docker Compose. In the description below, I have added the Docker Compose using the creating the DB and creating the UI using the Docker Compose. So you can watch the video and create the Docker Compose file and manage the containers very easily. And the same things, the GitHub repo also being added. If you have any doubt or any concerns, please do write me comment section below. If you have not yet subscribed my channel, please do subscribe now. You'll get notified when I add more videos on my channel. Thank you.